If you like my videos, don't forget to follow me on social media to keep up to date with all the latest news regarding my channel and my content. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe below or at the end of the video. On the heels of the mega successful Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp is the next blockbuster to come from Marvel Studios. And thanks to a brand new trailer, we've finally got our first proper look at the upcoming movie starring our favourite pint-sized heroes. As with all good Marvel trailers, the official trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp gives us plenty of insight into the upcoming movie, while still remaining somewhat ambiguous. That said, there's still plenty in here to dissect and break down. In this video, I'll be going over my most favourite, most interesting and most exciting moments from the new trailer, providing a little Marvel history along the way. So what am I waiting for? I know that was terrible, but I'm really excited, guys. Let's get into it. The brief advertising campaign surrounding this trailer promised us that we'd discover what Ant-Man and the Wasp were up to during Infinity War. Seeing the trailer now, I find that was pretty misleading, given that there really isn't any Infinity War references in here or anything pointing to this happening at the same time. The trailer actually makes this movie's placement in the timeline seem somewhat more confusing. In the opening of the trailer, Scott's daughter Cassie asks him how long he's been Ant-Man for again, to which he explains it just sort of happened. I'm guessing that this is in reference to his accidental involvement in the airport battle during Civil War, and his inference that he messes it up every time alludes to his time in prison on the raft following the battle. In Infinity War, we're told that Scott entered house arrest to free him from the raft, and we get a brief glimpse of this in the first trailer. However, it's not mentioned or shown at all here. And in this opening scene, Scott doesn't seem to have a tracker on his ankle, so it doesn't appear that he's under house arrest at this point in the movie. I'm inclined to believe that this movie takes place somewhere closer to Infinity War than to Civil War, perhaps closing with a direct tie to either Infinity War or Avengers 4. But until we see the movie or get some kind of confirmation from the filmmakers, we just won't know for sure. The most interesting thing about this trailer was the fact that we didn't get a look at Michelle Pfeiffer's character in the movie, Janet Van Dyne. I've never really expected that we'd see her until the release of the movie, or close to, but her appearance on the newly released poster gave me a little bit of hope. Janet Van Dyne is of course the mother of Hope Van Dyne and the wife of Hank Pym. She's also the subject of the movie's rescue mission, which sees Scott Lang, Hope and Hank venturing into the quantum realm, where Janet has spent decades after going subatomic during a mission. Just like in the cinematic universe, in the comics, Janet was the original Wasp and the crime-fighting partner of Hank Pym as the Ant-Man. Together, they were founding members of the Avengers, and Janet was actually the member who gave the team their name. We do of course get plenty of Wasp action in this trailer, care of Hope Van Dyne, and boy does she look absolutely awesome. Not only do I love the way that they've depicted her in action in this, but the way her and Ant-Man team up is absolutely incredible. Though I love Scott Lang's solo adventures in the first movie, there's nothing cooler than multiple superheroes teaming up and using their powers in tandem to help each other out. Some of these shots are like comic panels coming to life, and I just couldn't be happier, especially as a big fan of the Ant-Man and the Wasp comics. And this right here is exactly why I love these characters so much. Speaking of these two, we're also treated to some great scenes with Lang as Giant Man, bringing a lot of hilarity to the trailer. It looks like Lang is still struggling to adapt to his giant form. He's gangly and awkward and causing more damage than solution. This reminds me so much of the earliest issues of the comics where Hank Pym was getting used to being Giant Man, where he likewise finds the form to be quite awkward at the best of times. I just love these kind of callbacks to the comics. Despite not getting to see Janet in this trailer, we do get another few brief looks inside the quantum realm, where Scott, Hope and Hank are sure to find her during the movie. These sequences look absolutely gorgeous, and I can tell that they're just going to be an absolute feast for the eyes. It also appears that Pym has developed some kind of vehicle that can be used to shrink to subatomic and explore the quantum realm somewhat more safer than previously. Not sure about you guys out there, but I'm kind of getting some Magic School Bus vibes off these scenes, and that's certainly fine by me. Holding that thought, this could also be the same kind of tech that's used to shrink the car at the end of the trailer. We also get a pretty decent look at Lawrence Fishburne in this movie, certainly much better than the single shot we got of him in the previous trailer. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, Fishburne is set to portray Dr. Bill Foster, a character who has played a large role in the comic universe since his first appearance in Avengers number 32 in 1966. Foster began as a lab assistant to the first Ant-Man, Hank Pym, spending many years as a support in his continued research with Pym Pym particles and helping to develop new uses for them at the Avengers facility in New York. In 1975, Foster, now working for Stark International on the West Coast, began experimenting with a synthesized version of the Pym particles. While testing the formula on himself, he developed his own size-altering powers, allowing him to grow to 25 feet tall, just like Pym. With his new powers, Foster took on the mantle of Black Goliath, an allusion to one of Pym's aliases in the late 1960s, Goliath, who was basically just Giant Man in a new costume. Over time, Foster would also take on the mantle of Giant Man, and then later just simply Goliath, under which name he played an instrumental role in the Civil War arc. Whether Foster will display size-altering powers in this movie is unknown at the moment, but by the sounds of this conversation, he's already undergone a size-altering experiment in the past, which of course went by the name Goliath. I'd love to see Ant-Man recruiting Foster as Goliath, either in the movie's climactic sequence or in a future movie down the line. We also get a really decent look at the villain of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ghost. In the comics, Ghost has an unknown alias, but is known to have been a genius inventor, IT researcher, tactician, and hacker. With an anti-capitalist view and a desire to take down large corporations, Ghost is described as an industrial saboteur, whose specially designed suit allows invisibility and intangibility, allowing the ability to phase through solid matter. Ghost first appeared as a supervillain in a 3-issue arc of Iron Man in 1987, spanning issues 219 to 221. In more recent times, Ghost has been developed as more of an anti-hero, working alongside Luke Cage as a member of the Thunderbolts and later the Dark Avengers. In the comics, Ghost is portrayed as an unknown male, however the movie will feature a female version of the character portrayed by Hannah John Carmen, who was recently seen in smaller roles in both Ready Player One and Tomb Raider. We're not quite sure what Ghost's objective will be in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but it sounds like by movie's start, she's already stolen the Pym tech, and now Lang, Van Dyne, and Pym have to stop her from misusing it in a plight of world domination or whatever. She's also most likely an operative of Cross Technologies, working for Chairman Sonny Burke, portrayed here by Walton Goggins. We get a very brief look at him in the trailer, carrying the building which we saw Hank Pym shrink down in the first trailer. What's the significance of this building? Is this perhaps an old Pym tech building, and how Cross Technology has managed to steal all of Pym's plans and research? Whatever the deal, it looks like it plays a pretty big role in the movie, given that Luis is seen carrying it later in the trailer. Is this perhaps the MacGuffin of the movie? Going back to Ghost, this isn't one of Marvel's greatest supervillains, but I'm liking what I see so far of her. They've done a really cool job with displaying her powers, and I just can't wait to see them in full force in the movie. I love the idea of another female villain. I absolutely loved Hela in Ragnarok, so hopefully Ghost turns out to be one of the MCU's more memorable ones, unlike Yellow Jacket from the first film. Just my opinion, guys. It'd also be remiss of me not to touch on the sequence with Luis and his gang of ex-crims. Looks like these guys are now cleaned up, perhaps offering their services on a more legitimate, above-board level at some sort of surveillance and protection firm. Whatever it is, Hank Pym seems to be recruiting their help at some point during the movie. All in all, this movie looks cooler and more exciting than I ever imagined. It looks like a balls-to-the-wall, fast-paced thrill ride, and a whole bunch of crazy stupid fun. I mean, there is legit a giant ant playing the drums! What is going on in this movie? I also love this gag with the giant salt shaker, and I love the one where the seagull is coming after Scott while he's in Ant-Man form riding an ant. And you know what? This kind of stuff is just the medicine we need after the world-shattering piece of cinema that was Infinity War. Just as the original Ant-Man was after Civil War. It looks to be the perfect breather and proof that once again Marvel really knows how to stagger their films thematically. I cannot wait for this movie. I'm like 10 times more excited to see it after seeing this trailer. This is the one that I have been waiting for forever. Ant-Man and the Wasp begins opening worldwide in June. If this is the first of my videos you've watched and you've enjoyed it and you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, then please hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen right now. Give me a little bit of support. And while you're feeling generous, don't forget to hit that like button down below. It does a great deal in getting my videos out there. Look guys, I hope I'll see you all again soon. Until next time, take care and I hope you have a marvelous day. Excelsior!